Okay, welcome to another exciting edition of my 3-gun vlog. Today I'm going to take my 870 and try to do a little bit of work on it. The goal today is to drill out or machine out a little bit of the loading port. I'm just going to use a basic die grinder and then a Dremel and sanding wheels, all the real simple tools. Pretty widely available. Lots of information on how to do this. It's a very common modification on these shotguns. Your goal is just to make this part wider, this part a little deeper, so you can get your hand on there and load 2 or 4 shells in a little smoother, a little easier. Yeah, it shouldn't take too long. Shop's real nice and dirty, so I'll try to get you some good footage. But, you know, just ignore the junk in the background and let's hope for the best. We're going to start by taping it off to just kind of make an outline of where we want to go. Make sure we're not going to hit anything important or internal, and hopefully we can get it level. That's going to be the hard part because we're kind of freehanding it here. But hopefully I don't turn my fancy new shotgun into a paperweight. Here's open. Alrighty. So, got it all taped up. Just kind of built a bit of a guideline for what I'm going to try to be cutting along. Got it as even as I could. Maybe a little lower on this right-hand side, but I tend to load over my right-hand shoulder, so if this side ends up a little lower, that'll actually work out for me. But to be honest, I am trying to get it level. Of course, I had to strip the shotgun down first. That's always a good idea. Now I'm just going to put it up in the vise and get grinding on it, and we'll see where that gets me. Alright, so taped up. I've got it in the vise. You want it in tight enough that it's not going to go anywhere, but if you go too tight you risk kind of cracking and just kind of imploding this. You want to be careful there. I'm going to start off with the die grinder and see where that gets me. So of course, never wear any jewelry, don't wear any baggy clothes. Hearing protection and eye protection are a must. I'm wearing them right now, but you don't need to see my ugly mug. So I'm going to get grinding and see where that gets me. Alright, so I'm about halfway done grinding, just kind of roughing it out. I took about, I'd say, 1/8 of an inch off this side, which doesn't sound like much, but if you get a view of it from the side, you can really actually see there's quite a bit taken off there. I also skipped it down the side a little bit, which is my own mistake. Should have just been a little more careful, but live and learn, I guess. It's a shotgun that's going to get beat up, so I'll have to live with it. This I didn't go quite as deep as I initially intended, but it's getting pretty wide in there, and, well, to be honest, I don't want to spend all day grinding it, and mostly I'm after the width and dulling this edge. This one I did a lot of rounding. This one's pretty sharp. I've noticed a few times while loading just along the edge of your thumb, it kind of can get unpleasant. So I'm just going to let the air compressor cool off. It's having a hard time keeping up with all the grinding, but just going to grind out the other side and then smooth it. And I'm debating whether or not I'm going to take a file across the top here to smooth this and maybe trim this metal down a little bit so it's just a little smoother when you run your hand across it. But I'll see how it looks and feels once I get this side ground out and go from there. Well, I figure that's probably about enough roughing. Took out quite a bit, softened up these edges. That was kind of my main focus, to be honest. I did decide to kind of try and flatten this. I'll actually take a flat file. Oh, sorry, let me read this. I'll actually take a flat file right along here to try and get that a little bit more level. Right now I'm just going to put a little, those little barrel sanders, whatever you call them, on a Dremel, and just try and clean this up a bit more. And then I'll hit this with a file, and then I'll try and go over the whole thing with a polishing wheel to really try and get it smooth. I mean, the less friction I got there, the more speed I'm going to get. So I'm pretty slow, so I need all the advantage I can get, so I'm not above cheating. All right, well, let's get back at it. All right, let's see if this will do what we need it to. Oh yeah, that'll work. protection. Well, that's smooth enough, but I want it to be a little shinier, and well, any more that I do will probably be more for aesthetics, but it's got to be pretty, right? And actually, I ended up getting lucky here, and I was able to get it flat enough just with this that I don't have to take a file to it. And I think once I hit it with the polishing wheel, it might come out pretty well perfect. Let's change out the tool and see what we can do. Alright, so I'm just going to use this guy here a little bit. It's basically just a wheel with a whole bunch of little bits of sandpaper on it, and that's just kind of one more step towards polishing it. So I'm going to hit it with this, and the next one is kind of like a cotton rag that's pinched on there, and same thing, it rubs it. This is just a little bit more abrasive. It's kind of a step between sandpaper and polishing, and honestly I saw it in the kit and figured I better use it just because it makes life a little easier, right? Well, I am very happy with how this turned out. I'm actually surprised at how well this has gone so far. Alright, so the last thing is felt wheel. And it's kind of got something in there that's a little bit abrasive, so this should be pretty much as smooth as I can get it once I'm done with this. And well, let's see if this even does anything for me. I'm pretty new to these multi-tool Dremel. Well, this one's actually a Mastercraft, but everyone calls them a Dremel. I'm very new to them, so I might be calling some of the tools by the wrong names, but whatever. We're having fun. That's what matters, right? Oh yeah, that's helping. And that is about as smooth as I have the ability to get it. Alright, so pretty well done. Just got to do a bit of cleanup. My bench is a bit of a mess. There's little metal shavings everywhere, but most importantly, my shotgun looks pretty good now. Took a couple little scrapes here and there, but I mean, I'm going to be throwing this thing in a barrel and bouncing it around. I mean, it's going to get beat up. It's a 3-gun shotgun. That's what it's for. I, ground and polished and got it. I'm real happy with how this feels. I'm not sure how good it looks in the camera, but it feels nice and smooth. I'm going to put it back together here and see how it runs. And then once I get it home, I'm actually going to have to take it apart again, but I'm going to get it as hot as I can with, a hairdryer or something like that, and hit it with some CLP. And hopefully that'll kind of soak in there so that I don't have to worry about this exposed metal getting any kind of corrosion. I mean, it still will. You still got to clean your stuff. That's just how guns work. But, any little bit that might help, it's worth a little bit of effort. Gotta say, I am very surprised at how easy this was to do. It's not perfect, I'm sure you could tell, but it's good enough, and it's widened out enough compared to how it was before, that this is, kind of all I wanted out of it. If you're like me and you've been putting this off because you're kind of intimidated by the idea of grinding your own shotgun, just go for it. I mean, yeah, you run the risk of turning into paperweight. Just, make sure you don't hit anything important, and you should be fine. Alright, so that's what it looks like assembled. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Now this is just a quick attempt at a dual load. I am absolutely not an expert at this, so let's hope it doesn't blow up, but that worked way better than factory, which obviously, I mean, come on, we knew that would happen because I'm practically an expert. Yeah, that's all there is to it. One thing that I don't like about this gun is that if you look at the fore end, this stock is really long, the handguard on it, or the pump, I guess. So I think my next project is going to be to cut this down to about here, so that when the action is open, it's there, so that I can still load it even with the action open. But more importantly, with the action closed, it's not going to be in the way right here when I'm trying to load. I won't be bashing knuckles on it. So, stay tuned, and maybe we'll do that next.